What's up, boys? Welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim, and Gugabe reporting from the NASA training facility, it looks like. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad. This is actually a submarine design lab, as you'd imagine. High demand industry lately, so let me have present. Life's good.
Yeah, that whole stuff was crazy. I followed it a bit, but
At least it was quick. Well, at least I'd rather implode instantly than
yeah. I mean, no way to die is probably fun, but at least they probably didn't feel much. But speaking of, or let's talk about the previous card, Topuria and Emmett. I was having fun with it on Twitter and stuff, but like I will defend you a bit, like because I know you're on the Emmett train. But I'll talk about Topuria first. I thought he looked really good. It was like probably about the best I could have expected. I picked him to win, but I just felt like I thought he was potentially really good, but I also kind of thought he had basically outstruck a lot of grapplers who couldn't grapple him because we know he's a good grappler and he's tough to offensively grapple. And I was worried about like, what if he actually goes against a striker? But the thing is, I'm not as high on Emmett either. Like I never really just like have been. It's like he has like some power, but other than that, it's not like he's that good. But I thought this was like a step up stylistically because he was actually going against a guy who could crack on the feet. But he looked like, and I picked Topuria to win, but my two concerns were like, how is he going to look in the later rounds? But he paced himself very, very well, and he ended up having like pretty good cardio. I think he attempted over 300 strikes and landed some takedowns as well. And I thought he just looked really good overall. Like I thought it was just a really good performance. It was probably on the higher end of what I expected from him. I did expect him to win, but I thought it would be more like he would have early success and then maybe he could get more competitive if he burned himself out a little too much. But he looked really good. I can't really say much other than that. I think he's I think he'll probably win the belt at some point. Like Holloway, I think he could give Holloway issues just with power. Volkanovski, I'm a little more skeptical, but like he's got a better shot than anyone else probably to beat Volkanovski. Wouldn't you think? Like in that division, Yair would have to do like a fucking dumb kick or something. Other than that, Yair's not very good. Yeah.
I think he's got a good floor against like Holloway and Volkanovski off pure sort of explosive power.
Yeah.
I do think like Emmett was getting in on the leg kicks pretty easily. I think Volkanovski just sees that and goes, "You're fucked." Like I don't think if you have trouble checking leg kicks, you get to beat Volkanovski at any real clip because it's just like Volkanovski will land 100 leg kicks.
Yeah, but the fact we're having this conversation means like he's very good. Like he's legit. Like he's a good fighter.
Yeah, I think against Volkanovski or Holloway, just like he's got his whatever bonk sort of percentage. I mean, yeah, it's a great performance, but end of the day, it's like it's one of these weird ones where it's like I felt that if you take on Josh Emmett in a hammer swinging competition, it's generally not a good idea. And like, good on Topuria beating Josh Emmett in a hammer swinging competition, but it's also just kind of shown that what else has he got? He just has crazy hammer swinging competitions, and like, yeah, that's why I think
I'll give him I think he showed a little more skill than just that in this. Like, just like the way he entered, like he actually had defense when he was coming in. Like he'd like roll in, he'd feint in. Like his feinting was literally like Emmett was falling over. Like he was so confused. But I will say, all the good things about Topuria, Emmett looks awful. Like he looked really bad against Yair, and that was one of my main concerns. And I thought he looked bad here too. Like he's lost something. Telegraphs his right hand so much. Like he he still is. I guess dangerous, but I've never been that high on him, and now he just looks worse than he even was. So like I will say that he like did not look good at all.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of going for like being an A+ athlete to just being a B+ athlete. And it's like he still hits very hard and he's still very fast, but just like because there's a lack of nuance, it's hard for him to make the game work with considering that. I don't know, because like even here, it's like he still ended up hitting Emmett he still ended up hitting Topuria very hard 5 or 6 times over the course of 25 minutes. Like end of the day, it's like and Topuria looked good, the fighting was good, but it's just hard to beat. Yeah, that dynamic is tricky, but like, Topuria looks solid. Questions how relevant this is for the next time tier, because like I feel like the issue of like Holloway, his cardio was good, but you did see he definitely started to slow down a bit, like round 3, round 4.
And he was controlling the pace, right? Like it's a lot different if someone's walking you down. Like so that I think that is like his next step. It's like he's gonna, and it's a Holloway or Volkanovski, like where they can control the pace, and or at least at some point they'll start walking him down. It's like he can't just fight the way like at the speed he wants to fight at, right? I think that's like because then could he gas out like. But I mean, those two really are like the only guys in the division who can push a pace like that. I do think Evloev and him would be a great fight. Like I still think very highly of Evloev, and like just like look at like he dominated Dan Ige. Like Ige had nothing for him, and I don't think he gets enough for credit for that. Like he had a closer fight with that jiu-jitsu guy, but like over just like
it was like 3 days notice.
He's not going to have any like guard playing guys except maybe Ortega, but like. Yeah. I don't know. I think we talked enough about it, but Barber.
I think Qatar would also be interesting if his knees like still working. Like Qatar of pure physicality can just get in there and do some Holloway light kind of stuff.
Yeah, Barber and Reeboss. I'll say like so. You and I have always had a thing where we've really respected Barber's physicality. Like a lot of people get the shit because she gets stuck on her back, but we also are like she is a top 5. Physicality in all of WMMA. It's like what Cyborg, Nunez, her.
I think she's like 2. I honestly think that Barber is almost a better athlete than Nunez. Like Nunez probably has more power, but Nunez gets tired. Where Barber does not.
Barber too. Like it's like a grappler and stuff. But yeah,
I think like Cyborg is the number 1. Cyborg by far is like she is. Yeah, there is no relative physical specimen in MMA history compared to Cyborg versus women. It's just never happened. Yeah. Like she's like Usman plus in terms of like where Cyborg is on the spectrum versus everybody else in terms of MMA. Because like Cyborg is gigantic, she is fast, she is strong, and she has elite cardio.
She like legitimately hits like a dude. Like
but also she has a cardio. Like Nunez, it's like there is a clear trade-off there. Like you look at Nunez, you go, all right, she has shit cardio. Like it kind of makes sense. Cyborg is just a physical specimen.
Yeah. But I will say on this Barber, thing is like people forget about this, but we don't. We always bring this up. Like that third round, Barber was fucking up Grasso, and I don't think it would have gone any differently. And like she's gonna thrive in 5-round fights. Like I talked about that earlier or last week, but I picked Reeboss to win this fight. And there's like fights where I'll look back whenever I like get one wrong, and I'm like, I understood that could like I won't feel like bad about it. I won't be like I missed something. I'll be like, oh, that was like a path to victory, or we didn't know enough about fighters, or like I picked Jamal Emmers to beat Jenkins. I'm like, I don't think I really got that one wrong. Like the fight, every exchange went similar to how I expected. Like Emmers was way better grappler on the feet. It was competitive. You know what I mean? But this one, I think where I really got wrong was Reeboss does get stuck on her back at times. And it's just like, and she throws a lot of head and arm throws, and Barber can get taken down, but she's really good upper body, like when you go for takedowns. And so I think it happened, like Reeboss would go for a head and arm throw. And even though it worked a couple times, it also got her in trouble and made her on bottom a couple times. And I think like Barber's top game, her ground and pound's like one of the best in the sport. Like Barber's in A+ in a couple areas, and then she's kind of like a C in certain areas too. And I feel like I should have realized, like, Barber, like, if Reeboss is going for takedowns and shit like that, like, Barber can get on top and fuck you up. Like, she even got on top in some of the fights where she lost, or, like, almost lost, like Maverick and stuff. But I really feel like when I was watching it play out, I'm like, I feel like I just kind of missed this one, And it wasn't due to, like, I don't even think it was due to improvements or anything. I think just, like, Reeboss kind of put herself in positions where Barber can kill you. And I think I should have paid attention to it more. I was just focusing on like only the couple things Barber's not very good at. Like she gets stuck on her back. She's not the best distance striker, but I wasn't thinking about like in the clinch, if Reeboss gets on bottom herself, because Reeboss has been put on her back before. Like even against Van Zandt, I think for a second she got put on her back. So yeah, but Barber, like, she's very matchup dependent, because there are certain girls who I feel like can give her issues still, but she also, like, I would favor her to beat Grasso in a 5-rounder. Yeah. Like, do you kind of see what I'm saying here? Like, do you have similar points?
Yeah, broadly correct. So I had the under in the fight, so I just kind of
that's
assumed
a
it
good
would be
call.
a crazy war. I don't know, kind of a weird spot. 'Cause I do feel like there's permutations where Reeboss make like I feel like Reeboss had a bunch of options, and in this fight, she just kind of
You
picked
could have
sort
made
of
it
the dumbest
closer.
ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think there's permutations here where Reeboss completely, looks completely dominant, and it's just the way Reeboss fights. So the fucking leg lock was just really dumb.
I like tweeted that when it happened. I think going for a leg lock against Macy Barber might be like the dumbest, like maybe the worst person in women's MMA you can go for a leg lock against. Like leg locks are dumb. You just expose yourself to punches, and Barber, like her ground and pound, I've just always noticed it. Like even the beginning of her UFC career, like she's fucked people up there. Who was it early in her career who she just murdered on top? Was it? Oh yeah, remember when she got on like top of Hannah Cyphers and just like it was? I mean,
Angela Hill has done that to Hannah Cyphers.
I know. All right, probably a bad comparison, but I'm just saying, like, if she gets in certain positions, she can really fuck you up, like really badly.
I enjoyed the outcome. It was just kind of weird. I found it hard to take like massive. Like Reeboss did some dumb shit, and they both had massive nosebleeds after like a minute, kind of a situation. It just felt like it just kind of went Barber's way in a lot of ways. But like again, I think Barber just has this whole very high floor because she is stupid athletic. I wonder what's next for Barber. Like, because Barber is what? This is like top 5-ish now, I'd imagine. Barber Araujo would be funny. I'd be down for that. Though Araujo did just lose to Reeboss. I just think Barber Araujo would be a great fight.
I could see them doing Barber and Blanchfield just because, like, it was booked before. They both kind of have some fight right now. Because, I mean, even though Barber seemed like she was coming in on a losing streak, she actually had won like 4 strikes in a row. It's just 4 fights in a row. It's just she had some fights she could have lost, right? Like against I thought she lost against Ali. It was competitive, but I thought she should have probably lost the decision.
I thought Blanchfield was supposed to be going up to bantamweight. I remember hearing this whole thing where Blanchfield volunteered to be in the bantamweight interim or new belt kind of fight. No, I'm not sure it's actually confirmed.
I haven't been paying as much attention to MMA Twitter just because I've been busy this week and last week, but maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Barber versus Andrade would be funny.
Trying to think. Yeah.
They both neither have any real skills. They just have physicality. I just think it would just be like a really stupid.
I kind of trust Barber there. I trust Barber's chin more, like in a weird way. Yeah. It's just like Andrade gets hurt a lot for a woman, and Barber probably hits harder than anyone who's like Barber hits harder than Yan Xiaonan for sure, right?
Yeah, but like Yan's now later onto a perfect counter and that kind of thing. Like even like here, like Barber got the KO off a head kick. Like I think it's it's not like she's getting, but it's not like she's Amanda Nunes kind of powerful skill. I mean,
yeah, she's not one shot power. It's just like her ground and pound is nuts. Like seriously, but she's got some pop. But we can that's right. I did see this like now. Blanchfield's book, for Santos, but
it's actually booked. Didn't realize.
Good performances by Topuria and Reeboss there. The only other one I'll talk about, the Emmers decision was awful. Awful. You can give 2 competitive rounds to Jenkins, but like I thought round 2 was Emmers. I thought round 3. I mean, no one disagreed with round 3 except that fucking Aaron Bronstetter guy who was like suggesting. I was like, "What are you talking?" I like retweeted it and quoted it. And everyone was like, "Yeah, you're an idiot," to that Bronstetter guy. Yeah. But he's like, he takes the damage versus control thing to like really crazy heights. But I don't know. I thought 30-27 Emmers was more justifiable than Jenkins winning the fight. But like the first 2 rounds were competitive. I just kind of thought, but Emmers is still like way better at MMA. Like he's so much because if he would have just grappled from the get-go, he would have won the fight, like, clean.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of the classic MMA issue where it's like you have 2 60-40 rounds and then, like, 1 super dominant round. It's like that 60-40 round still means that the underdog has, like, a 10% chance winning the decision.
Literally, yeah.
Even though it makes no coherent, logical sense. Like, even though, like, it's just, like, a really bad decision.
Yeah, because, like, it's basically you have to get 2. You basically have to clean sweep on 2 judges' scorecards or you're fucked. And
And like these decisions happen. I probably get one. We probably get once a month where it's just like, all right, that was stupid. That was bad. But when you look at it, it's like, all right, I guess I can see how you got there, but like you shouldn't have got there that way.
Yeah, for sure. Then what was the other one? Oh, Onama was fun. You and I were talking about that. Like I was like pretty 50-50 on the fight, and I thought Onama was being disrespected. It's like he went minus 300 against Landwehr and kind of cardio dumped weird, and I just respect. I don't know. He just like he's very dangerous. Like even like whenever you didn't like him early and still don't like him, you have to like respect he's very dangerous. And as like a plus 170 or 190, whatever he was against a pretty new, unproven guy who still looks good. Like I thought that guy looked all right.
Yeah,
but
that looks good.
He could have won that fight too. Like let's be real,
yeah.
he could have won. But I thought this was going to be a war, and I was like, this guy's not minus 230 in a war, and that's kind of what happened. But he could have still won. He landed some good shots, but Onama also seems tough too.
Yeah,
he has like a high floor and durability.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Onama takes it close to a coin flip. I probably would slightly favor Santos in the rerun because like he had him so many times early and like he had near subs, but like Onama's game is just built more practically as well.
I wouldn't, but I can see where people are coming from, but it's just like unless if Santos has major grappling, like or like at least
he kind of did technically. He just was an idiot with it. Like he had like 3 near subs.
Really, Onama. Like I talked about that. He reminds me of Ben Henderson. Like I talked about that last week. He's really good at just like getting out of positions. Like he just like knows how to roll with leverage. Like he's really hard to choke, and he's good at just ending back up on top. Like he's just like you can tell he started probably wrestling just like a few. If he would have started wrestling at like 4, he would have been like D1 for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a lot of like gifts for it, but he kept getting on top on that guy, and I just feel like he was more likely to get top position than Santos. It's like Santos, when he got the back, he couldn't really do much with it. And I don't know, Onama, even though he got like hit with like spinny shit, like back fists, I thought he was landing the more conventional strikes, like the more high percentage strikes, like right hands and things where, what's his name? Santos was landing like spinning stuff, which I don't think there is higher percentage of strikes, but I don't know. That was a war though, and you don't always know how to cap a war after. So I can see it, but I would favor Onama probably in a rerun, but who knows?
I don't know. Again, these things are always tricky. Like, yeah, if Josh Emmett had just wiped out Topuria in round 2 after round 1, it's like, well, would we favor him? Like, this is the logic you are embarking off on.
I hear you.
No, I get it. Anytime you have like big powers, it's like Bruno Silva versus Allen. It's like, yeah, Bruno Silva had whatever chunk of Bruno Silva kills Brendan Allen. Like, it's just how these things work.
Yeah. Let's go to this week's card. Strickland and Magomedov, kind of a very weird main event because like Magomedov has had one UFC fight, if I remember. But for those of you who don't, I'm sure like most people are, I mean, everyone's a hardcore watching a show like this, but Magomedov was kind of a good PFL fighter and whatnot, but he looks good. Like I'm pretty like he's UFC level. He's a good striker, but I just have a lot of respect for Strickland. I kind of have like a similar, like I remember against Imavov, and Imavov's good. Like I think Imavov's a good fighter, but Strickland's very, very good. His Cannonier fight is aging better now, and it's just like I don't see any. I don't know. I have to pick Strickland here. Like, it's just like his metrics are good against way more proven competition. Like, if you go through Magomedov's record, like, who is he really beaten? But he's a skilled striker. He's dangerous. Like, he could maybe land something. But generally, it's like Strickland's been knocked out twice by Alex Pereira and Zaleski in, like, a really mean spin kick, like 4 years ago. And I don't know. I just feel like Strickland's jab, his, like, I just have to favor him. What do you think?
Yeah, about the same.
Yeah.
Mago seems like a decent explosive kickboxer, but like Strickland's floor with like, Strickland's going to rock up 25 minutes and throw a couple hundred
significant strikes easily. Like, yeah.
So it's like he just has a good floor. Like again, I haven't pulled the trigger yet on this, but like the Strickland price is coming in a bit. Like he gets like minus 125.
Yes.
Probably take it pre. live bet might be good. Like if you wait like 5 minutes, I think Abu probably has his best round in the first round, and like even if Strickland's the same price or a bit better, it's like Abu could just land a big kick or something. It's like Strickland's underdog, and it's like, well, can you do this for 25 minutes? And like and I feel like live betting probably avoids like whatever equity Abu has to just explode him in 2 minutes. But like I'll probably take some like KO because I enjoy losing money on Strickland like KO. It's just one of my passions. But yeah, I think you got to like if the number's like huge, like what is Strickland like KO? Strickland KO is plus 235. Strickland round 4 plus 1700. Strickland round 5 plus 2000. Like I just think off pure tempo, you got to take that kind of shot.
Yeah.
It's just a weird fight because I don't really have any strong opinions on Magomedov. Like he's had a lot of fights, but he's had a lot of quick fights, so it's just kind of like, and it's like he's had what 15 seconds of action in 3 or 4 years or something.
Yeah, and I
don't think he's going to change much because he's quite old and like he's been around for a while. But like it's still 3 years. You don't know what the fuck you're getting.
It's a thing where like I saw Strickland was at like minus 190 on the book I use, and I was like, whatever. Like I'm not like gonna run out to play that. And now it's like getting to like minus 140 to 60. And I'm like starting to get tempted. If it gets to like minus 135, I think I'm just going to play it at that point. I hate playing 5-round striking fights where like variance is involved, but I just can't imagine like, I don't think there's ever going to be a version of this fight where Magomedov just like wins the dominant decision ever, where Strickland doing that is like maybe one of the most likely outcomes, just winning a clear decision. It's probably the most likely outcome. So I don't know. What's like the decision lines? Like, what are they giving? Do they like really think Magomedov just has? Yeah, he's plus 500 to win by decision, and he's plus 250 to win by TKO. So that's where a lot of the respect is coming. Like they're giving him a what is that? Like a 30-something chance, like around there to knock Strickland out, which that's probably too high, Yeah. But
I mean, it's one of these things where like if he does win, it's going to look. Yeah, it's all conditional, but it's all really conditional probability.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, you and I just like Strickland. Like we liked him. Like he was the underdog in that fight against Imavov, and we were like, the line should probably be flipped. But like the only thing was short notice. But Strickland, he spars a lot, and he's just always in shape. Like he literally came off the couch and went 5 hard rounds. I just feel like guys like that can do that, But moving on to like a pretty anticipated fight is Magomedov and Dawson. I interviewed Dawson on this channel, so I kind of like it. I've talked to him about this fight too. But before the fight, before I taped, I was like leaning Demir for sure, and then once I taped, I'm slightly leaning Dawson. But it's a tough one, It's because a lot of the analysis I'm basing is from the Tsarukyan fight, but Tsarukyan's like a better pure takedown artist than Dawson. But I will say, and I'm being like straight. Like I like Grant, and I'm like I like him a lot just because he came on here. He's a really nice guy every time I've talked to him. But like I'll tell you when I think he's going to lose a fight. Like when he steps up, I think he will be in trouble. But he's better at like back taking than Tsarukyan. Like Tsarukyan's not really a guy who can put in like a body triangle and stuff. And I feel like if he gets those positions on his Magomedov, like he can seal around, and he's dangerous with like his rear naked chokes. I've said that for a while, and then he ended up getting the Gordon sub, which is pretty surprising to me. And then the Matson one. And so like I think he can land takedowns, but I don't think they're going to come that easy. Like I do think he can have some takedown failure, which could bring moments of danger because like Demir's a way better striker. But like one thing I do like for Dawson is Demir doesn't really like have a ton of power. So I don't like someone who had power could really like make Dawson pay. Or like if Demir has power, like one, just like the chances of putting Dawson away are harder. So Dawson has a high floor to just be alive for 15 minutes to land takedowns and get his grappling going. But also, if this becomes a thing, which it could, where like Dawson gets a takedown, gets some control, Demir has some success on the feet, it's like Demir doesn't have a ton of power to completely like maybe steal a round off the Aaron Bronstetter fucking damage criteria, you know? But it's close, like, because I mean, Demir's way better on the feet. Now, he still like worked up fine against Sarukian at times, but he gives up his back. And like, I can guarantee you, Dawson's looking for those back takes. Like, he's going to be looking for them. And I will say, Dawson is very fight hype. Like, he's the opposite of Jamal Emmers. Like, he maximizes his win condition every time he fights. Like, he goes for, and I talked about it with him. Like, he's like, I'm going for 10 to 15 takedowns every fight. Like, I want to attempt a takedown every minute. And so I lean him a bit. And I think, like, if you got him on at plus money, that was like great. But I am like, this is a step up for him too. And like, he is going to be in trouble on the feet if he just happens to get stuck there. And that Glenn round 3 round will always kind of worry me a bit. But he's also had, it's almost like an Onama thing. It's like every other fight, he really hasn't had an issue like that. So it's like, it could have just been a weird situation where he ended up on bottom and this happened. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you kind of, tough fight to call?
Yeah, like Magomedov, it's like partly was a whole like retirement and injuries and like losing the passion kind of thing, and that's kind of also hard to cap.
Yeah,
Dawson's weird because like he does one thing and like it's a good thing to do. Like, yeah, Dawson can definitely win a lot of fights doing what he does. Yeah. But like he has no strike defense, and like if he cannot do that thing, he tends to get sort of stranded out, and like, you know, he's lost striking, and he's just, you know, he's very good at back takes and takedowns and tenacity, but he's not really good at anything else. But like
it's like those two things though, like wins 80% of fights.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. Just, yeah, he only has one like real skill set. Like in like Jared Jordan fight, that kind of stuff, where it was like he was kind of losing, then he managed to get the back takes kind of situation.
He's probably just going to have some Jillian Robertson losses where he kind of just gets dominated, where he's going to face a guy where maybe his grappling won't get going and he kind of just gets boxed up, right? But Demir, I do think he can take Demir down and threaten back takes. So, but I could kind of see Demir having stretches of defending it too, and having it's close, you know.
I kind of like the ITD here just because I feel like Dawson is pretty reliable to just set an insane pace, like win or loss. Like, yeah, you just kind of you're capturing kind of a best case Dawson thing where he just gets rear naked choke or something, or like, you know he's going to go for a ton of sub attempts. And it's just like, his Magomedov is going to be able to land wherever the fuck he wants whilst it's standing, just because it's Dawson.
Yeah.
So just like, you know, pace-wise, it's just, you know, it's just, I find it hard to commit to a side. Like, I took some Dawson because it was like starting, because I got like plus 120 afterwards, I'd be like plus 100 everywhere else. And I was like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
I might as well take a free steam. But like, I don't know, I'm just not, I just think this is very close. I could see both of them winning dominantly. Like, I don't know. Just, what you do?
Yeah, like the sides, it's tough to take. I do think, like, the under 2.5 at plus 180. I can't imagine that being a terrible spot, you know, just because, like, just in any fight, like, just like a random finish can happen. And then you do have like process finishes here too, like a sub for Dawson or just a random knockout for Demir. But again, Demir doesn't have a lot of power, but I do think he's so much more skilled on the feet that like it could just be like a dominance type of finish, you know. I'm leaning more towards Dawson winning inside the distance if he does, and I'm assuming he has a much higher inside the distance line.
No, Ismag plus 500, Dawson plus 275.
That's interesting because then it's plus 130 for Ismagulov to win decision, and then plus 190 for Dawson to win. I almost like Dawson decision a little bit. Yeah. Like, I could just see him getting a lot of top position, limiting engagements on the feet. But
yeah, I think Dawson probably has a more coherent minimum winning strategy. Like, the thing is, if Ismagulov is winning a dominant decision, it probably means he's landed a fucking ton of hard shots. Yeah. Or Dawson has gotten tired. Like, Dawson has most of the clear sort of decision upside just because it's how he fights.
Yeah. I ended up picking Dawson, and I went in thinking I was going to be picking Demir, and I didn't just change it because Dawson's one of my boys. Not only did I bet him a lot before I met him, I also ended up liking him too. So, but I'm not I'm not being biased. It's a close fight. Like, it's a very, very close fight. it's a good matchmaking too. Like it would be like a good win for Dawson, but we'll see what happens.
I think people are simplifying it a bit because they're just like, oh, Sarukian had the back takes at the end, and like it has to be. It was like Sarukian could equal him on the feet. Sarukian's a freak athlete. Like just because he had back takes doesn't necessarily mean that like Dawson can do everything else that led to the back takes.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it should just be close. I think it'll be an interesting fight.
It's a really interesting one. I'm guessing Magic hates Dawson because Magic gets these rivalries going where he hates Dawson, hates Bobby Green, and he hates whenever you pick against Ilya Topuria. But I like Dawson's time will come where he loses dominantly. This one's close. Like this one's like it's a tough one. Griffin and Morales, I think the line's too wide. Like I picked Morales to win, but it's like where is he like way better technically? You know, it's just like he's young and athletic. He could just have some random stupid improvement, you know, but he even at distance, like he was getting hit a little bit by Fugit and whatnot. I tend to think like either guy could land a random takedown, but I don't think either guy will like dominantly win with top control. So I think they'll strike. And it's like, I know Morales hits hard, but Griffin's a really underrated hitter. Like Griffin's like one of those guys who knocks everyone down, but doesn't knock them out. Like he gets a knockdown like every other fight, I feel. Like I don't think Griffin's like great, but I respect him. Like he's tough. I just don't want to play minus 240. I know he's technically kind of proven because he has that win over Giles, but it was quick and kind of whatever. And
he literally taps the Giles.
Griffin's very, very tough. I think that's like one thing. Griffin's a tough dude, and I think he'll be in the fight. And I just picked it to be close. Like that's what I put in my breakdown. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Some takedowns might mix in. Either guy could hurt each other. And then, yeah, like what were the distance strikes in a lot of Morales' fights? It's not like I didn't even think he looked that great against Fugit, you know? I thought he looked okay. But I don't know. What do you think here?
Yeah, Griffin will pass my line just because, like, yeah, Griffin's a good fighter. But Morales doesn't seem to be able to check leg kicks, and Griffin will bomb them. So I think that's also a good factor. I just have this gut feeling that Griffin will just like win like 6 minutes. Well, like he won't be running away, and Morales will just fucking will just hit a flying knee or some shit, and I'll just be like, oh for fuck's sake, not again. It just feels like one of those fights.
Yeah.
I'm expecting essentially a Fugit rerun where it's like Morales looks meh and then just like has like a gigantic moment of absolute shit kick or just like inevitably it'll be like 430 into the first round. It'll be like Griffin will be down from plus 200 pull. Griffin will close at plus 250. We'll be down to like minus 150 live. And then Morales will just do something spectacular and I'll just be like, well, that was annoying.
Or it'll be a thing where like Griffin's winning the first round and gets dropped at the end, and then the rest of the fight's close, and like Morales wins like a 29-28 decision. But
it just feels like I've seen that particular fight play out so many times. It just feels like what's going to happen here. Like actually, I like Max Griffin a lot historically, but like that Tim Means fight was not a great look. It feels like he's just kind of heading in a position where like he now has such shit round for it. He just has such bad late rounds. Unless he can just wrestle somebody.
I said this in the Topuria and Emmett fight. It's like career trajectory does matter in fights where you're like, is this line like who am I going to pick here? And it's like Topuria is like younger, faster, whatnot. Like Emmett just was kind of looking worse and worse. And I do think Griffin's old too. Like you got to remember. And then like Morales' room for improvement and, you know, just his room for improvement and Griffin's room to just decline could just pass him up, you know? So
Griffin's
that's baked in the line too.
Particularly when Griffin's kind of fighting like a narrow window. Like my view is like Griffin will probably have his best round in the first. So it's like, even if I take Griffin, like I'm probably, if he gets it plus 250, I'll probably take some. I'm probably going to be looking to try and live bet out of it after round one. Or I'll take some like offset KO 2-3 kind of stuff. Because like Griffin gets very tired these days and he's never been great at converting finishes, which is just annoying because I've had a lot of unders on Griffin fights. And it's amazing how like GTD he's been for his career, considering how like every fight is an insane war.
Yeah.
Then he has like the Brian March fight where the guy's ear falls off and it's like, oh, finish. It's like, all right, that happened.
A fight that I haven't really even thought about, Lipsky and Gato. It looks like the line's coming on Gato. I'm guessing because of the grappling upside.
Yeah.
I gotta think. I'm like literally thinking about this fight for the first time because I didn't really care. Does Gato like actually actively go for takedowns? Like I'm taping her tonight.
Yes, she's not a De La Rosa or something like that, but she does have takedowns. I don't know, just let's kind of classic Lipsky fight. I feel like against what's Gato RTD is only plus 125, so fuck that. The fight I don't see any sensible ways to bet that fight. Like Lipsky probably competes very well on the feet, but there's such a massive ground hole that you can't really play her. Gato probably if she gets a takedown or has consistent top time, probably just fucks her, but otherwise no. But yeah, usually against Lipsky, I take the other girl ITD because I just assume if they're grappling, there's a good chance I'll finish. But like the market seems to have figured that out, and
she went for 5 against Leonardo. Eubanks was a little different because Eubanks was the one going for the takedown and got top times. I don't really include that. Then went for 6 against Cortez. So like,
yeah,
I guess I get it then because like she has a like Lipsky's very bad when she gets stuck on her back, but like
Gato arguably out grappled Cortez in terms of like damage and that kind of stuff. Like Cortez had a lot better game plan because Cortez, whenever she got top position, was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna hold on to this," and Gato was greedy as fuck. Yeah. But like, that was not a great fight for Cortez.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember that Aldrich Lipsky line. I was like, this seems wide. And this one, I'm like, I'm not seeing value at minus 230 anymore. Like, I don't know. But I have to tape it. I can totally watch. I need to look at Gato's offensive wrestling more. But
even Aldrich Lipsky is like, if Aldrich had ever ended up on top, it's just like, well, suddenly you feel like, oh, fuck, the plus 300 was
right. Right? And like, round. Yeah.
Lipsky is like historically bad off her back.
Yeah.
It's difficult to comprehend how she is that shit off her back.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I like Saint-Denis a lot.
Saint-Denis and Bonfim. Bonfim's just kind of one of my boys because I was just like, this is McKinney plus 105. I'm like,
it's McKinney. Who cares?
No, I know. So he's just kind of one of my boys just because I like him. But I still think like I guess Bonfim's defensive wrestling is kind of untested. So like, and Saint-Denis like will try to do shit and like we'll try to get takedowns, but like Bonfim's better technically at everything. I don't think it's going to be easy for Saint-Denis to get takedowns. And like on the feet, Saint-Denis isn't a good striker. Like he can swing a little bit, but Bonfim seems tough and is just so much more skilled. I think Bonfim's going to fuck him up personally. But like, am I running out to play minus 310? No, but like, what are some?
2 fights ago, you were betting fucking Grant Dawson, and now you're against Benoit St. Dawson.
But
they're the same person.
It's like,
I think Bonfim. I just think Bonfim's okay. I don't mind Bonfim as a prospect, but like I just think he just kind of runs margins a bit close, and then you've got Saint Denis, who is just an angry man with an angry plan who will just fucking go you. And I just think so. I can't see how wrong can I be on plus 260 Saint Denis. Like he will fight as hard. He will bring his soul into a fight. Like it's like what more do you want for plus 260?
Yeah, I kind of like the inside the distance here. It was at minus 325 and got bet down to minus 165. Like it's like, I know Saint Denis went to a decision against what's his name, but he got like, it should have been stopped. It was like a generational beating. Yeah. And Bonfim, like these guys are both very aggressive. And it's like, if the takedowns keep landing, shit can just happen with aggressive grappling finish, which I tend to think they're not going to, and it's going to stay on the feet. And Saint Denis is like aggressive and very hittable, and Bonfim like will come for you. Like he'll try to kill you. So
I'm happy to fade.
I kind of like the ITD. I'm just surprised because the bookmakers opened it where I would have expected around minus 300, and it's at like minus 165 to 170 now. I know Bonfim had a lot of decisions before that McKinney fight, so maybe that's what's driving it. But I remember going into that fight, I was like, I think Bonfim's like a better finisher than people realize. Like he was hurting people and stuff, and he was fighting some good regional talents too. But Saint Denis, like, didn't he get a hit 127 significant strike? Like, what were the numbers in that fight versus Zaleski? It was
the Zaleski fight was horrific. I had Zaleski inside the distance, and that's like, wow, that was just why, dude? Why?
Out of my TV. That's bad.
Yeah, that like again, I was looking at the Discord chat log for that. And everybody was just like, "What the fuck, dude?" It's like he died. Like that's also I think there's a certain amount of pricing into this GTD, but Benoit Saint Denis is unkillable. But I just feel like that never lasts. Like,
yeah, I fade that. Like when someone gets hit a lot, I just like gravitate towards the ITD, you know. And also Bonfim, like he's dangerous. Like I don't know. And both of these guys are just aggressive. I feel like it's just going to be a shit show.
I don't mind. Like again, I wouldn't play super juice, but like you get not Bonfim decision at like minus 280 at some places.
What's that?
I'm like, you can get not Bonfim decision at minus 280 at some places. Like I kind of feel like if this goes 15 minutes, it probably favors Denis just because Bonfim will be absolutely nuking him.
But he might just get. I mean, but if it stays standing, he'll.
Yeah, but he's got to survive a fucking generational beating.
The decision's very live, but I mean, he's still going to take a beating. So I
just find the music how it's just like, yeah, Dawson's fine, and Benoit and Dawson were against. Like, the anti-French racism is palpable. Like, again, I understand having issues with Europeans based off the conduct of certain Europeans in this MMA Twitter and betting Twitter space, but what are you gonna do?
I think Saint Denis, like I do like him. But Bonfim like seems. I was saying it before the McKinney fight. I was really impressed with his tape. McKinney's not very good, so it's not like Bonfim is all that proven. But Bonfim passes the eye test. Like when I watch him, I'm like, you're pretty fucking good. So is that lightweight or is that welterweight? I always forget with those two.
I think it's lightweight. I think that's the better Bonfim. I think the other one's really. I think the other one's
agreed,
really
agreed. I do too.
That fucking lot. Remember that last one or the other one where he got the guillotine instantly on what's his name? It's really stupid.
Lazez, whatever.
Yeah, it's like Lazez like waved forward and he just jumped the guillotine. It was just like, oh fuck.
They're lightweight. They're lightweight. I thought they were, but because I know McKinney is. So, yeah, maybe that's why I was like thinking that because Zaleski's at 170. But yeah, that's a fair point. But that's like the main card. Anyone on the comments, if you like any prelim fights you want to talk about, or is there anyone you want to bring up?
Kevin Lee versus Kevin Lee fights should be funny. I don't want to bet Kevin Lee at the moment because he's destroyed it both knees. Magic was classic.
He's also looked bad lately. Like even in that,
Diego Sanchez. I think like he destroyed his knee in like 2 minutes into the Diego Sanchez fight. But it's like, all right, that's an excuse. But it's also, do you want to bet a guy who's got a history of destroying his knee in like 90 seconds? Like, it's not good. I think what else is decent. Yeah, it's just like Lee will probably have a good first round and just pull Lee shit. Romanov versus Ivanov is funny. Like that last fight from Romanov was a disgrace. This is going to be again. Here I was betting 3 units on De Lima against Romanov many years ago at plus 400, and once again it turns out that I was very, 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 very right. That line should have been flipped. De Lima is going to be heavyweight champion of the world.
I don't think so, but
De Lima could be a top 10 heavyweight. He's got decent skills.
Some offensive skills, I know, but no, I picked Topuria straight over Romanov. It ended up being a big first round for Romanov, and then like the second and third was kind of what I was expecting. Like he couldn't get the takedowns, he was getting a little tired. Like I've always been, I was always skeptical of Romanov. Like I picked Volkov against him too. The only worry I have here, I want to tape the Topuria Ivanov like fight a little bit because I heard some bad things about one of the rounds in that one. But
round 3, Topuria gets on top and fucks him. But like I think Tiberia's a lot stickier for Romanov.
Yeah, and I have to watch, but I remember anytime I've ever taped a Romanov fight, I've read the grappling really well. Like where like the actual fight, the grappling sequences played out really similar to how I thought. So I want to tape it and like look. And there's sometimes I get those right. Like there's just certain fighters I read right, and then there's certain other ones. Like women's MMA is hard because like physicality kind of can fuck grappling sometimes. But with like, I don't know, with men's MMA, I do a little better on the grappling. But even my only worry about him is he doesn't always like push a pace, like, and if I want him to fucking gas Romanov if I want to pick him to like win, But I will say, just like the discrepancy here in toughness is insane. Like Ivanov is like one of the most durable guys in the sport, and Romanov just he doesn't like to get hit. Let's be real. Like he just seems like he would quit when he starts getting hit.
It's a weird spot because, like, again, I didn't mind the Topuria loss was a little bit shit, but I didn't mind it because he like hung out 15 minutes. And Volkov, the second he started having any adversity, he just quit. And I was like,
yeah, that was a really bad look. Yeah.
Even
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, because if this was coming off the Topuria, if this was like Topuria, if this fight was happening instead of Volkov Romanov, we hadn't seen the Volkov fight, I had make Romanov like minus 250. Because he lost to Topuria, but that was a genuinely close decision, and like he stayed in the fight. Like he wasn't completely, he did his best to like cling on there, but then like he rocks up against Volkov, he's pulling like 30 pounds. And he just like had tries for 3 takedowns, and he's like, "Oh fuck, these aren't working. I'm done. I'm gone."
He went for a few, and he's like, "I'm good."
Yeah, I was like, it's a fucking shit position to be in. Don't get me wrong, but like,
it kind of reminded me, not like totally, but it kind of reminded me of Terrence McKinney, where like they do that initial burst to try to get you out of there. Like he'll do it more with strikes, McKinney, and not always grappling, but sometimes it's grappling. And then he's just like, "All right, fuck it, I'm good."
But look at the stats. Romanov landed 0 takedowns. Like he was completely gassed after 50 seconds. Like that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
because
I picked Volkov there. I was really worried because the Aspinall fight, Volkov apparently got poisoned before because his defensive grappling and get-ups were always amazing. And then he just looked like he got poisoned in that fight. And then I was like kind of nervous, but I was basically judging that fight to be an outlier, and the rest of what I saw in Volkov in any other fight, I thought his defensive grappling was good enough to stop Romanov and then just eventually tire him. And then, that's kind of what happened. So
that was a weird arc for Volkov. He rocked up against Topuria, looked really fucking shit. Like he just looked off. He beat Topuria, but he just looked off. Then he had the Aspinall fight where he instantly gets the fucking heavyweight subbed.
He got poisoned.
And he beat fucking he survived Wadum on him for like 10 minutes, and he gets instantly fucking straight armbarred by Aspinall. Made no sense. And then he comes out against Rosenstoik and Ovanov and kills both of them. So it's just like, how the fuck do we even know what Volkov is at this point?
Yeah, he always seems so consistent, and then he just had like his like recent little run has been very, very weird.
He had like 2 really bad performances and 2 really good performances. And it's like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah. But I've generally liked Volkov. Like I've generally been like very high on him, and he had a couple like oddball matchups. But I don't know. That's everything. Next card we got 290 Volkanovski and Rodriguez. I think we'll try to get some guests on that one. Just it's a pay-per-view. We'll try to get someone. Maybe Matt. We could just we could literally just send Magic the fucking stream whenever. Because he's always heckling Gugabe. So he could come whenever. But
I would like to give Magic his full credit for cashing his minus 300, and I hope next time he actually wins money on the minus 300. You talk shit, you lost units on the fucking bet, so it's just like, well...
I don't know, but you guys had like a fun rivalry just on...
I know.
It was a lot of fun. I couldn't join. He had asked me to join whenever you did on his, but I couldn't. I had something that night. But I wanted to because it's always fun talking to you, all 3 of you. But all right, man. Well, we will. Oh yeah, Tafa. Yeah, that was weird. That was like a legitimate eye poke where when that happened, I'm like, I don't think he's gonna continue. We're like, what was the fight that? It was the last bet, like tracked that I lost. I had a little money on Kim over Bame, and it was just like everything. Yep. That ridiculous that could have happened, like bad judging, 2 point deductions, like an unprecedented point deduction after the fight was called, like an Academy Award performance by Bone. Like, I don't always like to question fighter toughness, but it was very clear she was like fine. But yeah, that was a funny fight.
I mean, I'm not going to blame the fighter for trying to juice any sort of foul that happens to them. It's like, again, it's like it should be. They should be trying to push it.
Yeah.
You have neither, Magic. I'm sorry, but I don't know. It's just like, it actually kind of annoys me sometimes when fighters do get like a massive fight-changing foul and they're like, "I'm tough. I'm going to fucking keep going with no point." The doctor's like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah.
So like the bone thing was stupid, but also it's just like, fighters should actually be trying to juice those as hard as possible. But anyway, otherwise, thanks for listening, I guess, and catch you next week. Actually, they've done 3 in a row. That's I think that's a plus 1,000 prop was just cashed for people who managed to bet on us. So
our dry spell of having like 10 just like in the dark, no podcasts will probably come up soon. But my work schedule is way different now, so I can. It's a lot easier for me to join. I was always the reason why generally we couldn't do these whenever we would like go on those sprees, but we've done better this year. We just had like a month where we couldn't do a few. But
So what subject are you teaching in the St. Louis suburbs? Are you teaching math? Are you teaching maths? Is it like Dangerous Minds kind of thing? You just sort of like found your new pathway in life?
No. I have the same job. It's just I kind of talked to my boss being like, I can't work till 7 a.m. till fucking 10 p.m. every night. Like stop. And so I just I basically just had a conversation with my boss. Like I will leave if I keep doing this, and she doesn't want me to leave. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. But I work from home though, so that's always nice. Like you can be flexible. Like I don't have to go in the office or anything. But all right, man. Well, I will see you next week, and we'll talk about that Volkanovski and Rodriguez next week.
Yep, gotcha.
See you, man.
That was good. Bye.